So there are so many yoga teachers in the world now. Every studio is doing teacher training. There are yoga teachers everywhere. Our mom's a yoga teacher. Your mom's probably a yoga teacher.
It's true.
How do you stand out? So if everybody's a yoga teacher, how do I differentiate myself as something that people need and something that's sought after? Now, people need yoga teachers. We are changing the world as yoga teachers, but there's so many. How does anybody that's the general public that thinks, well, I need to do this stuff, how do they know what to do? Where do they go? I have a problem. Do I go to a yoga teacher to find the solution?
Yeah, and listen, if you want, if teaching, the drop-in single visit style classes at yoga studios, that's the thing, no, there's no harm to that. I mean, that's where we started, and that's when we have teacher trainings, we have students who graduate from our teacher training who then teach with us at Hot House Yoga, and that's what they do, and they love it, and they're passionate about it. We love them for being able to be a part of the family and to be able to make such an impact in people's lives. So don't get us wrong and there's something wrong with that. But what we find, and even being here in Costa Rica, we have students of ours who have become teachers who are here with us. And that's one of the reasons why we're shooting this podcast, is because this episode is, there's questions of what's next? How do I differentiate myself? How do I stand out? How am I able to actually be all in and make a living doing this? And so we wanted to address that problem and give a solution. And for us, back in the day when we started teaching, it was 2003, right? And that was being men and yoga teachers, but also martial artists. There was enough novelty with that back in the day. That was prior to every studio doing a teacher training and everywhere being yoga teachers and all. The yoga world has blown up since then,
which is a good thing. The world has benefited by the blowing up of all of these yoga teachers and yoga exploding, because it's becoming the norm. People realize they got to practice, they got to meditate, they got to do these things, right? But back in the day when Chris and I started, there was, not only were we men, but we started in hot yoga, which was also a novelty. So there was a differentiation already way back then. And people were like, I got to check this out. Oh yeah, did you hear about these guys? They teach yoga. I'm going to go take their classes. And so we had that way back in the beginning.
Yeah, so this is going to be a quick one, because there's really just 3 steps to differentiate yourself, to stand out. Because what happens is we become, as teachers, a commodity when everyone else can do it, and there's all these free pop-up classes going on. You can't, it's hard to stand out in that by calling yourself, hey, I teach yoga and I'll give you these classes and it'll be a great experience. And it's hard to articulate that. So here are 3 things you can do right now to figure out, to help yourself stand out. And the first thing is to get really clear on who it is you want to serve. Meaning, what problems do those people have? And then take those problems on and figure out a solution. Very simple, but if you can't figure out the problem if you don't know who it is, because you got to know what they're dealing with. Who is it that you want to serve? Is it the elderly population? Is it children? Is it parents? Is it and what I would do and what we teach is to look into your own life and see how yoga helped you in your life. And maybe it wasn't you specifically, but it helped someone in your life change in a way, and they had a problem and they found yoga, and you want to devote your life right now to that problem, meaning to find that solution.
The second is to specialize. Once you realize who you want to work with and you figure out what their problem is, be a master at solving that problem, right? Specialize. So if your who is people that suffer from stress and they have their stress is debilitating for them, your who is people that are suffering from stress in maybe their parents that suffer from stress. And so what is the solution for that? Specialize in meditation for parents with stress, right? So you want to specialize. The next thing
is, so let's recap. 1, you know your who, right? Which really means you know the problem that they're having. 2, you now have a solution. You've researched, you've done the work, you've experienced for yourself, you've applied it in your own life first, the solution, and you know it works. The third is create a framework. the framework it will allow you to take that solution and package it in a way that makes it better than any other solution. More it gives those people the results that they're looking for, because the framework is simple, it's easy to understand, and they can remember it easier.
So
period.
A framework that produces results. A framework that produces results. And so this may mean you need to do in the business world, it's called a beta group. You may need to do it a few times for free with people that you know that are suffering from this problem, people that you specifically want to work with, right? Your who. Figure out who you want to work with, who your dream people are that you want to work with, the problem that they're suffering from, specialize in solving that problem, and create a framework that produces results.
It delivers what you promised to those people.
You do those things and you'll step out of this huge pool of
the sea of sameness.
And you'll notice that your business takes off that way.
And you can even, like, if you're teaching at a yoga studio, like, create this and then talk to the owner about delivering a workshop to the people that are already going, and like collaborate with them. So there's like literally like zero limitation on this. But if you don't know who, you don't have a solution, you don't have a framework, you really don't have anything that makes you stand out, makes you differentiate yourself. Because if I just teach yoga, then I can kind of get that anywhere. And that's what's kind of sad, but it's also what creates the opportunity.
And when you create that framework, 3, 5, 7 steps to that framework, right? That's what makes it a framework. And then name the framework. Put a name around it, right? This is the Cure for Stress framework, the Yoga for Stress framework, whatever the thing, Meditation for Stress framework. There's something way sexier than that, but you get my point. Put a name on it and put it together that way. And that's it.
Yeah.
Coming to you live from Costa Rica.
Yeah, we got to get ready for our next session.
Yes.
So we got to roll.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Do the work.
Honor the struggle.
Make the world a better place to live.
Peace.
Yes. Thanks so much for listening to Yoga Entrepreneur Secrets. Do you have a question that you'd like us to answer raw and uncut on the podcast?
If you want your questions answered, all you need to do is head over to Apple Podcasts and do 3 simple things.
1, rate and review, telling us what you think of the podcast. 2, in that review, ask anything you want related to yoga. And 3, if you want a shout out, leave your Instagram handle or name. And that's it.
Then listen in to hear your question answered live, raw, and uncut.
Join us next time on Yoga Entrepreneur Secrets Podcast.
Thanks.